Welcome to Darling Cyber Cafe. Coffee break time. Got a minute? This is an unscripted, raw podcast about my views and perspectives on things that are going on in the world. Your go-to space for conversations about digital privacy, cybersecurity, and the ever-evolving online world. So grab your favorite coffee, settle in. I'm your host, Darnley, and today we'll be diving into one of the most controversial topics in tech and society: TikTok's potential ban in the United States. As the hours count down with the recent announcement that TikTok may face renewed restrictions or even an outright ban, once former President Trump returns to office, now that's a lot to unpack. So is this about national security, political posturing, or something more profound? I'll help you break it down. So why is TikTok under fire? TikTok, owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, has become a global sensation in August 2018, boasting over 1 million users worldwide. But its rapid rise has not come without scrutiny. The primary concern? National security. Critics argue that TikTok collects vast amounts of user data from your location to your browsing habits and even biometric data. This information could end up in the hands of the Chinese government due to laws requiring Chinese companies to cooperate with state intelligence efforts. Essentially, the worry that TikTok could serve as a Trojan horse for espionage. On the flip side to this, TikTok has repeatedly denied these allegations, insisting that the US user data is stored on servers in the United States and in Singapore, with plans for a US-based data center. Despite these assurances, skeptics point to examples of specific regimes using tech platforms to monitor and manipulate populations. Now, if you understand how any communist regime operate, present or past, this may shed some light on the end game here versus hiding behind the veil. From my personal experience, what many do not see is in the shadows. Sure, call me paranoid, but as the saying goes, ignorance is bliss. This is why the US government is adamant on allowing TikTok to be US owned, which in all honesty is fair, as the Chinese government has tighter restrictions on foreign companies. Things such as censorship laws, which Google and Facebook are banned in China, data localization requirements, meaning companies are required to share sensitive data to the authorities, partnership and ownership restrictions, which means any companies in China must have joint ventures with the authorities, and authorities being the Communist Chinese government. Now, in previous podcasts regarding this, I have spoken many times about the Great Firewall of China. More about this soon. So what's the societal impact in TikTok? Now, beyond cybersecurity, TikTok's societal influence is another hot button issue. The app's addictive algorithm keeps users glued to their screens, consuming a constant stream of short videos. This has raised concerns about mental health, especially among teenagers. Studies link excessive TikTok use to increased anxiety, depression, and attention span issues, which is really recorded everywhere. It's especially after COVID-19. This really was a profound effect on the use of these apps with the attention spans of teenagers and children. The next thing it has to do with the issue of misinformation. TikTok's algorithm can amplify misleading content, which is from fake news to harmful health advice. Now, combine this with its massive reach, and you have a age-old recipe for societal polarization. While TikTok offers a platform for creativity and social connection, these various studies highlight the importance of monitoring and moderating its use among children and teenagers. A call to parents, educators, and policymakers, they need to be aware of these potential risks to implement the appropriate safeguards. And I have seen many times through my endeavors of parents just handing their kids devices or not understanding technology enough to limit or to put in the parental restrictions for time and monitoring of their children's devices. Another example is an investigation done by Amnesty International have revealed that TikTok's For You feed can quickly lead young users to potentially harmful content, including videos that romanticize depressive thoughts, self-harm, and suicide. And the geopolitical divide. Now, to understand the US's stance on TikTok, we need to look at how China regulates its own digital ecosystem. In China, apps like Douyin is basically a Chinese version of TikTok, are heavily controlled. Content is curtailed to promote quote unquote positive values, while foreign apps such as Facebook and Google are banned outright. This approach ensures that China's digital infrastructure aligns with its national interests, thus being about to spread their own messaging to their own people and not having it conflated with US information, for example. Now, the US, on the other hand, has long championed an open internet, which I stand behind 100%. However, TikTok's case has sparked debate. Should democratic nations adopt stricter controls to counter potential threats? If China can regulate its own digital sphere for national security, why shouldn't US do the same? Or are we just going down that slippery slope to government control? It's not like this never happened before, right? Looking at you, Canada. The politics of the ban. Now, let's talk about politics, which always gives me a massive headache. Trust me. TikTok's initial ban efforts gained traction during President Trump's first term. His administration cited national security risks and have also issued executive orders aimed at banning the app. Now, while these efforts face legal challenges, the underlying concerns never went away. It really sparked curiosity in the people. Now, with Trump set to return to office in January 2025, many expect a renewed push against TikTok. But this time, the political climate is different. Bipartisan support for tougher action on China has grown significantly, meaning a TikTok ban could find a broader backing. Now, these critics, however, argue that banning TikTok might be less about security and more about stoking anti-China sentiment. They warn that such actions could set a dangerous precedent for restricting free speech and innovation. Now, personally speaking, as someone who doesn't always openly criticize without doing my homework, why a ban might not be a bad idea. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment. In an era of rising in cyber threats, banning apps that pose potential security risk isn't unprecedented. For example, India banned TikTok in 2020, citing the similar concerns in the USA. Supporters of such measures argue that it's better to err on the side of caution than to expose their citizens to potentially spying or influence campaigns. Moreover, a ban could encourage development of secure, homegrown alternatives. By reducing the reliance on foreign technology, the U.S. could strengthen its digital resilience. And this is why I'm more of the from proof and from what's going on in sort of like the political standpoint that President Trump, or soon to be President Trump, is going to ban TikTok. It may not be on January 19th, however, but it's going to be banned at some reason because the Americans are enforcing a America First campaign again, which, more power to them. But it has to do with the sort of light at the end of the tunnel here. Like, even if the app doesn't completely get shut down on the 19th, it will get shut down at some point. So again, as someone who has dealt in this landscape, I'm not going to sit here and say I stand on some sort of authority. I just try to accumulate all the evidence, all the sort of writings on the wall, as you will, to kind of see, is this going to be a real thing or not? And Really, where does this leave us? Um, the TikTok debate is a microcosm of a larger conversation about cybersecurity, digital sovereignty, and the balance between openness and security. And someone who is all about openness and security, I understand this is a thin line that we walk on. And if we go into the wrong direction, we'll probably end up like China and Russia, for example. So I understand a ban might seem extreme to some of you, um, but the concerns driving it are very real. One of the things I noticed back in 2018 when I jumped on TikTok is I did at the point understand the importance of social media, how it connects people, how it makes people money, how it informs the population. But I did see the writing on the wall in terms of how this app was connected. And even back then, understood that this could be detrimental to Western countries because this is a avenue for a indirect attack against the population. But understand we are living in a different age today. It's not as black and white as it was 50, 60 years ago when people were at war, they were at war. But I will admit, once Trump gets into office, does this mean he will reverse the ban? As I said, probably not. But as I keep saying, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And many opinion pieces out there will say it's not going to get banned. It will. In my experience, it will get banned unless the app gets purchased by American investors. And there's a lot of people out there looking at trying to invest in TikTok. So if TikTok removes, because one of the reasons why TikTok's not going to sell is because of the algorithm. And many investors that I've seen said they don't care about the algorithm, is that they can keep the algorithm and they'll take the app. So I think at that point, if that does happen, the app will remain in place. But I know if it does get purchased, it'll keep running. If not, it will get shut down for sure. Mental health is a very important subject to me, a very important topic, and very important to our society, as I do see from behind the scenes how technology affects humans, how it affects our children, and how does it affect our countries as a whole. It's always important to remember that we need to have that balance of technology and the balance of our own mindset. If you want to admit it or not, we are at war. Digital war, psychological war, all that boiling frog analogy I love to mention during when the tide is changing. Understand, people during the Great Depression did not know during the Depression that it was a Great Depression. Just like people during the World Wars did not know it was a world war until it was done. As we navigate this digital age and its growing uncertainty, it's crucial to prioritize both our privacy and the health of our society. Never forget that. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Darling Cyber Cafe. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and share with anyone. And as always, stay safe, stay informed, and protect your privacy. Until next time, this is Darling signing off. Now get back to work.